speed of competition, the drama of the moment. This is TNT Sports.
Sunny, warm, and racy Daytona Beach, Florida. We're just 72 hours from right now. These drivers will fire their engines in the first race of the 2004 Nextel Cup season. Today, it's a midweek matinee, a race fan's delight. For the price of one, you get two all-star sprints that will set the starting field for the 46th running of the Daytona 500.
That 125 is definitely a different type of race.
It is a race within the big race itself.
I don't care if I come across the line on my roof, I've got to get myself in this Daytona 500.
Every year, the 125 gets more and more competitive, and it means more and more for the 500.
I think history has shown that if you run well in the 125s, then you are a serious contender for the Daytona 500.
TNT Sports presents the 2004 Gatorade Twin 125's live from Daytona Beach, Florida. For race fans, this is one of the most popular dates on the schedule. For race teams, one of the most meaningful. When this day is done, the fans and the teams finally know the starting lineup for the 46th Daytona 500. Hi everybody, the entire TNT race family welcomes you to beautiful Daytona Beach. I'm Bill Weber. Don't even think about going back to the office. The command to fire the engines is less than 2 minutes away. 45 drivers will race today, 43 will race on Sunday. These two races will send 2 drivers home. So for the majority of these racers today, it's all about improving your car and improving your starting spot for Sunday's Daytona 500. In race number 1, 23 drivers, 50 laps, 125 miles. But the most important number might be 8. Why? Here's Marty Snyder.
Well, that's because it belongs to Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, extremely fast in practice yesterday. In fact, Jr. said at one point, I don't know what you guys did to this car, but it's so good it's got to be illegal. Of course, the car is legal and very fast. And the view that most drivers expect to see today, this one, the rear bumper of the Bud car. Dave Burns.
Marty Jr.'s teammate Michael Waltrip had a car that worked well early in the week on the high side and on the bottom of the racetrack. Crew Chief Slugger Labby told me that yesterday they even found a way to make it work great in the middle of the racetrack. He can race it anywhere. Matt Yoakum.
Dave, Jeff Gordon's 2-time Daytona 500 wins. He's chasing a 3rd. His average finish in the Twin 125s is 4th, and that's good news since he starts in the back today. Crew Chief Robbie Loomis told me the team has 3 goals: secure a good starting spot, make the car drivable, and get a good pit stall for Sunday. Bill?
Now let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, let's welcome back Florida Gators head coach Ron Zook for those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
A sunsplash day of pleasure and pressure. The dash into the Daytona 500 is about to begin on a windy day. Temperature in the mid-80s. The green flag coming up.
The Gatorade 125s from Daytona International Speedway are brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the Gatorade 125s. Is it in you? The new 4-for-all pizza. Everyone gets the toppings they want, and it's only at Pizza Hut. And AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
The Gatorade Twin 125s, 125 miles, 50 laps around this 2.5-mile track. Drivers will have to stop at least once for fuel. Tire wear should be a big factor here this afternoon. Who hits the setup and who does not. Restrictor plates will keep these cars tightly bunched up. It should be an exciting afternoon. You've got the best seat in the house. But here are three guys that have a pretty good seat, too. Upstairs to Alan Bestwick, Wallen Dellenbach, and Benny Parsons.
Okay, Bill, thanks. First and foremost, today's two races are about setting the starting order for the Daytona 500. And you do want to be up front. 35 of the 45 500s have been won from top 10 starting spots. But for a lot of the teams, BP, this race is about a whole lot more.
Well, they'd like to use it for a 125-mile practice session because Goodyear's made a new tire this year at NASCAR's. They've asked them to make a new tire, and it's really giving these teams a hard time trying to get the perfect setup. So they'd like to use it as a test, but you know, there are really only about 10 or 12 good pit stalls on this pit road. They'd like to get in the top 5 to get one of those spots, and also those guys racing for 14th, 15th, the transfer spot, they want to transfer it into Daytona 500, not have to worry about speed or provisionals.
And I've been in that position, BP, of trying to make the show, make the big Daytona 500. You've got to be in that 15th or higher. And I'll tell you what, it'll tear you apart because the whole race, you're just worried about making that transfer. So there's a lot of guys that are trying to gain a lot of things today, and some of them are trying to get a start in the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500.
And I'll tell you this, if the racing today is anything like it was last Saturday night in the Budweiser shootout, this is going to be some kind of fun. The starting lineup in green flag for Gatorade 125 race number 1 when TNT returns to Daytona. Speed Weeks 2004 from Daytona International Speedway live on TNT. Gatorade 125 race number 1 to get underway momentarily with drivers going 50 laps for starting spots in next Sunday's Daytona 500. Here's the starting lineup for this first race. 23 drivers set to go. Greg Biffle, of course, the pole sitter for the 500. He's locked in no matter what happens today, but everyone else racing to determine whether or not they'll be among those front starters in Sunday's race.
Well, as we watch the rest of the field go by, let's try to talk to Jeff Burton. He's driving the NBA All-Star 4 today. Hey, Jeff, Benny Parsons, you got me?
BP, I got you.
Starting inside the 5th row, do you have a plan to get to the front?
We're looking forward to getting our year going here in a good way. Got a real fast car in front of me, got a fast car behind me. Hope to stay with those guys until the pit stop, and then it's every man for himself.
Pit stops are going to be important. You guys have worked all winter for these pit stops. What, 13 seconds?
Got the best crew on pit road, baby. Just put it in their hands and let them do their deal.
Well, good luck to you, Jeff.
Jeff Burton in the NBA All-Star Ford. Starting back in row number 5, 9th position today. Jeff talked about some good cars in front of him and some good cars behind him. Michael Waltrip is right in front of him, and John Andretti is right behind him in the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Chevys. Let's get some stories from pit road as we're a half a lap from the green. Dave?
Alan, Greg Biffle's first Nextel Cup pole guarantees him that first starting spot on Sunday, as you said. So is he going to stay out there and race all day? He told me an hour ago, yes, he is going to. They want the experience, as Benny referred to. He's also glad that he gets to practice start the race today, because he's going to have to do it again on Sunday. Marty?
Dave, you're not allowed to use your Bud Shootout car as your primary Daytona 500 car. Unfortunate news for shootout winner Dale Jarrett. His car has really struggled in the 500 setup, and they, especially in conditions like this, very warm and sunny. DJ just told me a moment ago, the winner today will be able to hold the car wide open for all 50 laps, something the 88 has yet to do. Matt?
Marty, Tony Stewart is used to digging himself out of a deep hole after qualifying here in Daytona. The average start for Tony in the past two Twin 125s, 17th, but he pulled off finishes of 2nd and 4th. Look for Tony to work his way to the front today with the help of Jeff Gordon. Both friends knew they were in the first Twin, so they worked together during practice on Wednesday. Bill?
You need somebody to root for today? Well, some of these drivers today are dreaming of winning the Daytona 500. Some are dreaming of just making the Daytona 500. Because of a poor qualifying run, a few owner points, and no provisional, they have to race their way in. That's a lot of pressure, as Wally talked about. 2 of these 45 drivers on the track today will be spectators on Sunday. Alan, take us to the green.
Pace cars off, Bill, and we're set to go. Greg Biffle and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will lead this field of 23 to the green flag to start the first of 50 laps in the Gatorade 125's race number 1.
Pretty clean start, BP. And Michael is already trying to get in the middle to make it 3 wide. Talked to Slugger Labby, the crew chief on that 15 car this morning. He felt like that the middle might be good today.
I think the middle's going to be good up until about 15 laps. Then I think after these guys get 15 or 20 laps, you're not going to see too many guys running that middle.
Here comes Michael.
He's trying it now on the low side. And Jeff Burton, he said he had some fast cars. He's right in the middle. Michael Waltrip, 15, John Andretti in 1.
Yep. Those 2 cars of the 3 out of the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated stable that have so dominated races here at Daytona and at its sister track, Talladega. Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip have won 3 of the 4 restrictor plate races last season and 8 of the last 10 that have been held.
Biffle in the 16, Junior in the 8, trying to figure out which car is fastest.
Somebody smoking in there. Is that Jeff Burton?
Jeff Burton.
Sure looks like it.
Looks like he's made contact. Maybe has fender revving the tire. All it takes is slight contact, and the sheet metal, if it bends and it's very, very thin, you go in and rub the tire.
Earnhardt Jr. and Biffle still side by side for the lead while the pack is in double file. A very quick refresher on how the field is set for the 500. Biffle is locked into the race. Positions 3 through 30. Biffle and Elliott Sadler are locked into the race after winning front row spots in last Sunday's Bud Pole qualifying. Positions 3 through 30 will be determined by the top 15 finishers in today's 2 races, not including Biffle and Sadler. So the first 14 in each race. I'm getting my numbers going here. We're looking 15th is the transfer spot, not including Biffle and Sadler. They'll fill out the rest of those positions. Then they fall back on time trial speeds from Sunday, and then they fall back on provisionals. So Jeff Burton's not in a lot of danger if he has a problem here, but it's going to cost him a good starting spot in the 500 if that fender gets to be a problem.
And a good pit stall, because as I said, only about 10 really good stalls where you have either clear entry going in or clear entry coming off.
There's Michael jumps down and puts Dale Jarrett in the middle. And sometimes you don't want to be put in the middle. We'll see how 88 car hang. Looks like the 88 car is going back pretty fast.
And Junior trying to get a run on Biffle. Can't quite do it. These guys look like they're lined up for the start of a race, but they're doing that last time by around 188, 189 miles per hour.
The 88 slid back to...
He's going to be back about 10th when they come back around, maybe a little bit farther back,
That's exactly where Dale Jarrett did not want to be. I talked to him this morning. He said the bottom lane, like Juan said earlier, bottom lane should work early, top lane late. One place I don't want to be, in the middle. Dave?
Greg Biffle wants to be out front the entire day, Marty. As you might expect, he'd like to stay out for reasons of what might happen back in the pack. He said, I got plenty of practice racing with other guys in the pack earlier this week. I'd like to lead every lap. Bill?
Dale Earnhardt Jr., how about that out there?
Man, oh man, this is good stuff, Bill.
Yikes. Jamie McMurray did that last Saturday night in the Budweiser shootout. Remember, from the start-finish line down to turn 1, he wedged his way up there 3 wide and got a couple of spots. So you were saying, Mr. Weber?
Yeah, just Junior very quiet on the radio, was concerned already about pit strategy on the pace laps, but as Marty talked about earlier, this car very strong today. Expect to see it up front over the next 4 days.
Now what we've got is Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. lined up nose to tail, so we'll see what happens with those two if they can make their way to the front. Biffle leads, McMurray second, then the side-by-side race for third. How about Jeff Gordon? He making any headway up through the pack, Matt?
He is slowly climbing up the scoring pylon up to 16th. Gordon's biggest concern today, patience, not for himself, but for the other younger and inexperienced drivers in the race. He didn't want their mistake to take him out. He made a funny little comment. It's funny how that front row looks so far away, yet it's just so close. Marty?
Matt, after things settled down, Dale Jarrett came on the radio and said he felt like the car died for a second. The engine died. Wasn't an ignition problem. They didn't have to switch boxes. Said he just felt like it died, then it came back to life. Not sure exactly what could be wrong, but he said it's not skipping right now. Just felt like it died for just a moment.
And we've seen he's all the way back to 21st position.
And Jeff Green in the 43 car is struggling right now. See the blue and orange car? Tony Stewart ran in turn 3 up on the back bumper, almost ran in the back of the 43. And now he goes on the outside, so Jeff Green some problems.
Stewart is really kind of squeezed through there. Gets it done.
That's going to be back for 15th place. Where Tony Stewart is trying to make some headway toward the front. So Greg Biffle has led all of the laps so far. Michael Waltrip and Earnhardt Jr. not able to hook up together and make any headway toward the front. And Tony Stewart, let's get an update on him. Marty?
they've really struggled with the handling in this 500 car, Alan, and they said they could make it do one of two things. It can either suck up or it can pass. So what they did is they kind of went with the configuration where he could try to pass people, but he's not going to be able to suck up as well as he would like to. Maybe that's what's hurting him right now.
And that's a term, the suck-up term Marty used, not for brown-nosing the boss, but for closing in on the bumper of the car ahead of you in the draft. Just underway. We'll come back instantly if something happens. For now, we take a break from Daytona. NASCAR in-car on in-demand is back this season. You get in-car camera channels with virtual dashboards, real-time in-car data, and live team audio. If you get digital cable, call 1-888-SPORTS-IN and order the season package. Changing the top 5 as we come back to the Gatorade 125's. Michael Waltrip took 4th from Jeff Burton a minute ago. Now he is taking 3rd away from Ward Burton. And Dale Jr. just not able to make any progress in that outside lane.
Actually, he's losing a little bit of ground up there. But he didn't have anybody really behind him drafting him.
And Michael Waltrip is pulling down. He's trying to tell Ward Burton in the 0, look, go with me and see if we can't work our way to the front. Hey, Marty, the 88 is not making any progress toward the front.
Yeah, they expected the chassis not to be as great as they would like, but now they're having engine problems. We told you about the pop, as DJ described. It feels like the car just loses power for a second. It's done it twice now. Switched to the backup ignition box. Still has not solved the, or did solve the problem. Have had no problem since he switched the box.
You saw from the onboard camera, he's in danger of losing the draft with that group in front of him. Earnhardt Jr. in 6th place and riding the rim, Bill.
I got 3 words for you driver types. Tight, tight, tight.
Oh, no.
That's what he said.
Oh, man.
And that's only after 12 laps.
And that was a few laps ago. So, you know, got tight early on him. And it's, some of the other guys talked about the same thing, including the 99.
And Bill, those guys are really concerned about the car getting too tight with that new tire.
Right, because it's going to get tighter as it goes along as the tire wear, right?
That's right. It's going to get tighter. And Tuesday in practice, some of the guys actually had chunks coming out of the tires that because their car was too tight. And that's a big-time problem when that happens.
And if you're new to NASCAR, not familiar with the lingo, tight is a car that's front end doesn't stick as well as the back end. So when it goes into the corner, it wants to go straight instead of turn left.
Yeah, you turn the steering wheel and the car says, I'm going straight.
And eventually you're going to have to start rolling out of the throttle.
Exactly. Because these guys do run around the racetrack wide open, never backing off the throttle. And if you do back off, you're in trouble.
24 of Jeff Gordon not making any progress up through the pack either, Matty.
Bouncing back and forth between 13th and 17th. Jeff just keyed the mic and said the car is really tight on the low side. I messed ourselves up. I'm going to have to drop back and start all over and work my way back to the front. I cannot use the low side. I've got to use the high side, Dave.
Matt, Greg Biffle can use the low side. He's used it all race long, but he radioed in 2 laps ago. I can only hold the bottom groove for another 1 or 2 laps. And you guys were talking about that right front tire and the car getting tight. Greg's car is tight, and if he keeps holding his car down there, he's working that right front harder than guys like Junior who are running up top. Weber?
Dave, add the 97 of Kurt Busch to the list of drivers complaining about their car being tight. Look for a wedge adjustment, but Kurt says right now we just can't go anywhere.
And right now the wrench into the whole deal is the temperature outside. It's warmer today than it's been any day, and the cars are sliding across this pavement.
And it sounded like there that Kurt Busch's car, he did back off on the throttle just a little bit there. And a really bad turn here when you're tight, DP, is turn 2, because for some reason over there, if you're down on the bottom and you have a car on the outside, you just fly up the racetrack, and you really got to jump out of the throttle.
See Kurt running in 9th behind Tony Stewart and just ahead of Bobby the Body. The 2 Joe Gibbs teammates have worked their way up from the back of the field. Stewart started 19th. Bobby started 18th. Ward Burton kind of getting cut out of the herd. Dale Jr. going by him to pick up 4th. Jeff Burton working on him for 5th. And John Andretti for 6th. No drafting help for the 0 car in that bottom lane. 43 car, Jeff Green driving for Richard Petty. Matty's all the way back next to last.
The hottest day of Speed Week's proven to be a major hindrance for Jeff Green's progress to the front, all the way back in 22nd. It's both loose and tight. He said it slides to back, getting into the corner, and then when I try to get it to turn, it just won't turn and starts to plow. That's the major reason why they are slowly fading and losing sight of those leaders.
I talked to some of those crew chiefs this morning, Wally. One of them said his car was aero tight. In other words, the wind was making the car tight, but the chassis itself was loose.
Yeah.
Man, what do you do with that?
And then, and especially when you're in traffic, that hurts your nose even more because they're stealing air from the nose of your car, so you're not getting that air to help push the front of the car down the racetrack to give it grip.
This is for 7th place as Bobby Labonte takes it away from Ward Burton and continues trying to move toward the front. Greg Biffle has led all of the laps so far, about to complete the 17th of 50 in the first Gatorade 125. The first of today's Gatorade 125-mile qualifying races. Live from Daytona International Speedway on TNT, Greg Biffle started on pole. He's led all of the 20 laps so far. Michael Waltrip has moved up to second, passing Jamie McMurray a second ago. You see McMurray with the star on his hood, all by himself with no drafting help. Kind of getting shuffled back. Dave Burns.
Alan, we're keeping our eye on those DEI teammates, Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and they asked Michael which lane works better, and Michael said, I don't care. Tell him to pick a lane. I would assume that him is Junior. Weber, are they telling Junior which lane?
Well, the Junior got on the radio and said, get Michael to pick a lane, so the team working back and forth, but Junior's car is so tight, he said on the radio he cannot close up to the 15. Look for the 8 on pit road around lap 29 or 30. The 5 car may be losing an engine on the track.
Uh-oh, Terry Labonte, that would be trouble. He's back in 15th place. By the way, while you're watching the ticker come across the top of the screen, see the names in white right now. When we get to the transfer spot, which at the moment is Terry Labonte, after that, yellow. Oh, trouble off turn 2.
That could
right
be
front tire, Scott
right
Riggs.
Front. Yep.
You see, you knew that somebody was going to lose a right front and give everyone else a break.
Because those cars all of those guys look like they're tight. They all moved to the top of the racetrack, and we still had 8 or 9 laps before they were going to pit.
And now, if they pit now, they're going to have to run about 30 laps. They're going to really be sitting on pins and needles those last 10 laps.
All right.
So caution out for the first time today. Comes out at lap number 22 for Scott Riggs, who was running in 18th place and had trouble off of turn number 2 in the 10 car.
So all these cars will dive on the pit road next time and make those much needed adjustments. And I think some of those cars are overheating, Wally, because the ambient temperature is warmer today. They use tape on the grill so they only allow so much air to go through to cool the radiator. It's been 210 degrees. As the ambient temperature goes up, so does the water temperature inside the car. They got to get some of that tape off, which will hurt their handling.
That's right, because when you take the tape off the front, you open up that grill more, and it takes downforce off the front of the car. So, yes, BP, that's going to make these cars push even more.
Check out what happened to Scott Riggs, top of the screen.
He was
in the corner.
Yeah, way up there, in between one or two.
That might be a situation. Someone was talking about getting loose going in the corner. You know, it may be he got the car loose. It certainly looked like a right front tire, but we'll find out. Just one of our crack pit reporters. We'll find out in just a moment. Matt.
BP, he was complaining the car had a terrible tight condition. He tried to go to the high side to help the car out, but it just wasn't enough, obviously.
Riggs with the 29th fastest time in last Sunday's qualifying, 24th in owner points this team was from last season, so he's pretty safe to be in the 500 on Sunday. But from the looks of that car, they may have to find the backup car.
Matt, did Scott say anything? Did he just go up and the car push into the wall, or?
Still checking on that part of the conversation, Wally. Right now, they're just concerning themselves with trying to fix that right front fender. The cars hit pit road.
Here they come. Stops at lap number 23. It'll be Biffle, Waltrip, McMurray, Earnhardt Jr., and Burton leading them in. How about Tony Stewart?
Running 7th right now, Alan. He said it's going the way we want it to go. We're not very far off, just a little bit tight off turn 4. A wedge adjustment trying to loosen him up, Dave.
Greg Biffle screamed in, overshot his pit. They had to push the car back. They're making a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment to the right rear to loosen the car. Bill?
Wedge and track bar adjustment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and 4 tires. He's already down. You got to get that fuel full. Matt.
Bill, there's slight cosmetic damage to the front bumper of Jeff Gordon's car after contact with the 9. Air pressure adjustment, a little bit of trouble on the left front. Air pressure adjustments on the left side to help fix that car's tight condition.
9 was in there backwards there for a while, BP.
Yeah, and because he spun around backwards on pit road, he's going to be held for 1 lap. That's the penalty if you spin on pit road. Now they may appeal and see if the spin was caused by contact from another car, but
Alan, Jeff Gordon keyed his mic on his way to his pit stall, said, guys, I screwed up. I hit the 9. My mistake.
All right, well, we'll see how that comes out.
So at least NASCAR is releasing the 9 car to go back on the racetrack. He will not be lapped. He's got to come back in and get 4 tires.
You see, that's after he's already spun.
You can see the bumper there.
Yes.
Right where the Dodge is all caved in right there.
Oops. There you go.
the other bumper.
BP, you're out of practice.
Yeah, I am.
Under caution here in the first of the Gatorade 125's at Daytona International Speedway. Looks like Michael Waltrip won the race off of pit road. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. TNT Sports live at Daytona International Speedway as the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series era begins with Speed Weeks 2004. It's the Gatorade 125's race number 1 under caution after Scott Riggs lost a right front tire and crashed off turn 2.
I can see the damage on the rear bumper of the automobile.
That's Casey Kane's car there that was involved in the accident on pit road, and he is now not going to be penalized by NASCAR.
Hey, watch up here.
Right up in there.
Right there, the red car, and see Jeff Gordon's going to get right into the back of the 9 as he's turning in right there. There'll be a little bit of damage on the front of Jeff's car from that, but that's why they didn't hold him, because he had a little help.
Now he pulled at his pit like, come on, guys, put some tires on this thing. What kind of damage maybe Jeff have on the front of his car?
Well, let's get a look when he comes by.
Move over, Bobby.
Bobby, go up to the fence there so we can see.
He's not cooperating. And that's unlike him. He's a very cooperative guy. Ooh, there you go.
I think that'll be okay.
Maybe okay?
Yep.
Still clean it up. We'll take a break from Daytona on TNT. The Daytona 500 kicks off on Sunday with a very special pre-race ceremony. It's the Nextel Tribute to America. Be sure and tune in as Grammy Award winners Lee Greenwood and Leanne Rimes join a cast of thousands to celebrate America and the Great American Race. It's the Nextel Tribute to America Sunday during coverage of the Daytona 500 on NBC. President George W. Bush will be on hand for the 500 on Sunday, and that'll make the tribute to America a little more special, won't it?
Yes, it will.
Should be fun. All right, we're still cleaning up, but closing in on the start here. While they wrap up this caution flag, let's check on pit road, Matt.
Jeff Gordon restarts in 10th. Robbie, what happened on pit road between your car and the 9?
I guess it's one of those unfortunate situations. I guess Casey Kane had stayed out a little bit late from what I saw on TV. Didn't realize where his pit was when he checked up that time. Jeff got in the back of it. Messed up our upper grill a little bit, but DuPont Chevrolet seemed pretty good. We got 4 Goodyear Eagles on there. We'll see what we can do with it.
And the tires that came off the car looked so per Robbie. Dave?
Tommy Baldwin is the crew chief for Casey Kane. Did you guys talk about the incident after you saw it, and what'd you tell Casey?
I told him it was really a nice job for his first Winston Cup pit stop. But, you know, it's no pressure day today. You know, we're just trying to learn. He's done a good job. Car's handling pretty good. You know, the Dodge, UAW Dodge deal, his car is, it's pretty good. We're happy with it. Just pass one car at a time. Take this as a learning experience today to, you know, gain some trust with the other drivers there, and kind of lost track of where his pit stall was there. And we talked about see if we could do a couple things different for Sunday, but everything's okay.
Bill Weber?
This is the right front tire off the car of Kurt Busch. His crew chief, Jimmy Fennick, told me they were running it easy, running high on the track to take it easy on this right front. But Benny and Wiley, you can see how this is worn away right down to the cord here. This is just 22 laps on this right front tire off the car of Kurt Busch. Obviously, he said his car was tight, and this didn't help it at all.
Man, I hope these guys in the next race aren't watching this right now.
This is not what you want to see when you got to go out there and go racing.
Because the light-colored string is the cord. The next thing is the air.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, they've let somebody else figure out how far they can go and what the limits are.
You know, one concern in the Daytona 500, I don't think it'd be too big a deal today, but the tires, the rubber's coming off the tires, they're wearing rather quickly. I think some of that rubber's going to get up in the grill and make these cars overheat. The water temperatures shoot up.
Back underway, and the first one out of line is Ward Burton. Single car down on the bottom, unfortunately. Yeah, nobody's gone with him.
Well, here comes Jeff.
Jeff Gordon.
Well, they break down.
That's back for 6th place now. They're side by side.
Greg Biffle, who led all those earlier laps, had a bad pit stop, came out 12th position.
Yep. Michael Waltrip leads. Earnhardt Jr. is second. Jeff Burton third. Jamie McMurray fourth. And John Andretti fifth off the pit stops. Then the side-by-side race for sixth. There's a sight we've never seen at Daytona before. Earnhardt Jr. pushing Waltrip.
Cleared back to the line now. You guys have really separated yourselves here temporarily.
Temporarily is right.
That temporarily is very good.
Transfer spot, Kurt Busch in 15th. And Jeff Green just outside the automatic transfer into the 500 in 16th. Bill.
Allen Jr. during the caution said the car is good, and the setup was what was hurting him right then. It's good one day, bad the next, good one day, bad the next. This is a good day 4, but he says for the changes they made under the caution, they're going to try and run the bottom, hook up with Michael, and drive him around the track. See how it works out. So far, so good, huh?
So far, so good. We saw Junior.
Oh, look out.
Look out. You can't go down there. That yellow line is out of bounds.
Johnny Sauter in the 30 for Richard Childress Racing.
You cannot make a pass there. You've got to back up and let the car back in front of you as you pass. But Johnny Sauter doesn't seem to be past anybody down there, so he's okay.
Looks like he went down there to avoid an accident, then lifted off the gas, and that lift off the gas not only put him back behind the cars he was behind, but look at the gap up to the cars he was racing with.
You get out of that gas just for a second, and that's how much you lose. And then it's really hard to make that ground back up unless you've got somebody behind you pushing you.
What happened? Right side of the screen.
I think there just went some blocking going on there is what that was all about.
That's Derek Cope in the middle car and Jeff Green in the 43.
So you're right. He had no choice but to go down there to avoid running in the back of the 50 of Derek Cope. Oh, guys, play nice.
Cope got in the back of the 43 car a little bit of Jeff Green, too, right there.
That race for 6th is sorted out single file. Ward Burton now ahead of Jeff Gordon. Followed by Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, and Bobby Labonte. Greg Biffle, the pole sitters, back in 11th now. Matt?
And the concern is growing for Jeff Gordon. He says the water temperature peg, oil temperature peg, that damage to the grill area is probably going to force Jeff Gordon to pit road to make some repairs and cost him a great start and possibly a great pick for a pit stall for Sunday's Daytona 500.
You see the freight train coming by, the 24 car.
I guess he'll try to back off, getting clean air, see if the water and oil will come down, and he'll just ride around the racetrack, hoping maybe for another caution flag that he could go in and make the repairs and then try to race his way back to the front.
Remember, this is what happened to Kevin Harvick last year. He and Kurt Busch tangled coming to pit road in their qualifying race, and Harvick went back out and ended up overheating and retiring from the race. Harvick started way in the back in the 500, like 31st, and he was in the top 10 when the race ended up being called for rain. So Gordon fans, don't give up hope, but it certainly adds to the degree of difficulty for winning the 500 on Sunday. Bobby Labonte, 3 wide. Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch. It's going to be for 7th place. And while we watch this, let's check with Marty.
Scott Riggs, the reason for the first caution, what happened?
Ran out of rubber. Just the car was really tight. Probably tighter today in this hot sun and the heat. Worse than we anticipated. Just didn't free it up enough. The car would really pull up good in the draft, and all of a sudden got really tight. And I was trying to take care of it, but lifting in each corner, it's pretty cool to be able to do that because it puts it back in the driver's hands. But when your car's not working well, it's no fun because you can't run wide open and catch someone. So all the guys in the Valvoline Chevrolet get the backup out, and that ran the Bud Shootout and worked hard on it. And can't say enough about Hendrick's engines. They're running well. Just got to start in the rear, and we'll have to show them what we got on the 500.
Matt?
Jeff Gordon already on pit road. They pulled some tape away from the front, tried to make some repairs to that grill. Robbie Loomis said, do you think if you drop back and just get some clean air, will that happen? He says, no, it is so far pegged. I am coming as soon as I can get to pit road. His worst start in the Great American Race 29. It looks like he may have a worse start than that for Sunday.
And we saw him when he left pit road smoking. It's already gotten so hot that the cylinder walls are distorted and allowing the oil to get by the rings.
Also on pit road, Andy Hillenberg's car being pushed backward toward the garage. That the Junie Donlevy entry with no provisional to fall back on. Pretty good chance that 90 car will be one of the 2 not in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Ward Burton and Bobby Labonte for 5th place. 18 car, Labonte down low with a little drafting help from Kurt Busch. How about Jeff Burton, Bill?
Trying to hang in there, lost a few spots, got trapped in the middle. They said, be careful in the middle. He said, it's not like I want to be there. But they made a small air pressure adjustment under the caution to try and help that car, which was too tight in the first half of this race.
Derek Cope in that 50 car up the 9th spot right now.
Yep.
He's a guy that needs to be up there.
Yeah, 41st on time, 43rd in last year's owner points for Derek in the 50. And so the 1990 Daytona 500 winner racing his way in as of now through his Gatorade 125.
And these guys are getting this information from the spotters because you don't know where you're at unless you're way, way up there, and you're hoping that you're in that transfer spot. And the spotters in your ear all the time right now telling you where you're at and where you need to go.
Good bit for rim riding there.
Derek Cope in the 50 car. That's Don Arnold Motorsports. Mike Hillman, the crew chief on that car. And I like Mike Hillman. I think he's very talented getting these cars around the racetrack.
For the lead, Earnhardt Jr. wedges his way inside of his teammate Michael Waltrip. They caught Jeff Gordon. Now Gordon is on the tail end of the lead lap, and Earnhardt Jr. was able to use that draft to get by his teammate.
Michael's going to lose a few there.
Let's see, right now he's 1, 2, 3, battling for 4th position.
Oh, who's that's got to run? Ward Burton. Ward Burton and Bobby Bonnie.
We saw Junior.
Whoa, Ward, hang on. You see that car run up the track on him?
A few laps ago, running up in the back of Michael Waltrip. This morning, several teams were installing bumpers, metal tubing behind the plastic front bumpers to try to protect these guys because they know their drivers are going to run into that car in front of them. We used to call it bump drafting. It's now hit drafting. They hit the other guy.
13 laps to go. And this is the race for 4th spot. Bobby Labonte inside. Michael Waltrip up top. See the front 3 lined up single file, plus the tail end of the lead lap car of Jeff Gordon. 23 car Dave Blaney. Remember the great run he had in the Bud Shootout last Saturday night, if you were with us here on TNT.
Hear him jump out of the throttle there.
Marty?
On the radio from Bobby Labonte, this segment, absolutely nothing, BP. The car has been very good. He was a little bit tight earlier. They made a very slight air pressure adjustment, but he likes that bottom line the best.
Bobby there racing with Jeff Burton for 6th place. Now the lap car of Jeff Gordon, or soon-to-be lap car of Jeff Gordon. How's that? Pushed up as Earnhardt Jr. cuts to his inside.
Johnny Sauter, we saw that 30 car fall back earlier and go to last, but right now he's worked his way back to 13th. He's in the Daytona 500. There he is. The AOL car. Matt?
Using that bottom line, BP, he couldn't use it before that caution. The car was just way too tight. He had the rim right up near the wall. His owner, Richard Childers, on the radio, giving him advice on timing as far as which line is moving fast to try to jump in. But he is moving well on the bottom, Dave.
Matt, Casey Kane is making his way back up through the field. He made a 4-tire change after he came back on pit road, but they made no chassis adjustments to that car. It's working pretty well, just a little bit tight. Remember what Tommy Baldwin said, too? He said to Casey, I heard him say, we're sure glad this happened today and not on Sunday. Marty?
Dave, look at Tony Stewart, motor up through the field, up into the top 5 right now. The car, excellent. He said earlier, the race is coming to us. All the changes we made, we guessed correctly. Bill?
Kurt Busch hanging on in traffic, 4 tires and fuel on the last stop. 2 turns out of the left rear, and they raised the track bar 2 rounds. So a major chassis adjustment. Remember, we showed you his shredded tire. Busch trying to hang on to the front of this field.
And I don't think Busch wants to be where he's at right now, Bill, and that's right in the center. And he had to jump out of the throttle when we were riding on board with him a little while ago, so I know he wants to get either in one line or the other right now.
At 6th, 7th, and 8th places there, racing 3 wide. Bobby Labonte, Kurt Busch, and Jeff Burton. On board Jeff.
Man, look what these guys are going for. Last Saturday night, that Budweiser shootout was terrific, and these guys today, they're passing at will.
John Andretti up behind Bobby Labonte in the 1 car. Dave?
John Andretti coming through the field as well, guys. They were just a little bit tight on that last pit stop, so they made a slight air pressure and track bar adjustment. I give you that information for the benefit of crew chief Tony Gibson, who's not here today because he's sick with the flu. Tony, get well, and those are the adjustments they made, and it's working pretty well in the one car. Kevin Mannion is taking over his duties today on the pit box.
I'll tell you, the tough part for all these guys we've been talking about in this pack here, Dave, is that the front three have sailed away while they've been racing side by side. Earnhardt Jr., McMurray, and Stewart are well clear of this pack with 9 laps to go.
There's a push from Biffle. Wow, look at that. That helped Kurt Busch a bunch. Got him out of the middle.
Oh, Derek, boy.
Hang on.
Almost in the outside retaining wall in that 50 car. Almost, but not quite.
That's the benefit of having teammates right there. Biffle came up and really helped that 97 car out right there.
Transfer spot is the 88 and 43 race toward the end of this pack. Dale Jarrett just took the spot from Jeff Green, 15th and 16th. How about the 43, Matt?
Last year's pole sitter, Jeff Green, here in the 500. He just was bumped out of that transfer spot. They are trying to hold on. Another team who is battling hot water temperatures. The water has climbed to 250, Marty.
And I don't know how long Dale Jarrett can hang on to that transfer spot. The car extremely loose right now. We've heard a lot of cars being tight. DJ has been loose the entire day. He just came on the radio, said loose as all get out, was his quote.
Second place, Tony Stewart trying to get it away from Jamie McMurray.
Got it.
Big Orange another spot to the front. And that brief little bit of side-by-side racing brought that second group right up to their back bumpers. See, now just a big single file line back through the first 6. How about Stewart, Marty?
He has been very impressive. Remember, they were not happy with the car yesterday. Greg Zipadelli just came on the radio and said, the car looks terrific through the corners. Tony said, I'm not going to mess around today.
Oh, look at them racing back here. They're going for it now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Got to.
I think that was Biffle in the 16 that maybe had to get out of the gas off turn 2 that kind of caused that whole jam up there.
And that's, like we talked earlier, when you're pushing here, that's where you're going to see it the worst. Coming off of 2.
Well, right now, Junior about 4 or 5 car lengths in front of Tony Stewart, while Michael Waltrip and Ward Burton race back for 4th and 5th positions. How about Biffle? Dave?
Alan, Greg just radioed in. I just can't keep it on the bottom anymore. I'm just taking care of it.
Just taking care of it means because he's going to start on the pole for the Daytona 500. He just wants to be sure and have a car to be there with.
You see, he had there again. You just hear that 16 car just feathering the throttle coming off of turn 2.
Because he doesn't want to crash this car and have to go to a backup and start all over trying to figure out what he needs on that car. They don't know exactly what they need on this car, but at least they don't have to start over.
Yeah, they need it in one piece.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the only thing he's got to lose today, is if they crash the race car.
Let's try to listen here to Biffle. Goes down into 1. Still on the gas. Just rolled out of it. A little bit getting in. Make the car turn. Get down the bottom. Let's listen here.
Nelson coming 1 back.
Pretty good there.
Still outside. Nelson coming. Watch him in the mirror. Still outside the 9.
Oh, he lost a lot of ground off the 2.
That's right, because they're backing off, going in 1.
Behind the 9 if you need it.
There you go. Roll it out. Yeah, he's got his hands full right there.
Dave Blaney going by in the 23. Tony
Stewart
Stewart
go by now.
Trying to reel in Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the top spot. 4 laps to go. The first of today's Gatorade 125s.
The 16's just going to say, have at it.
50 cars smoking.
Don't do it.
Doggone it, don't do it. He's in the race, isn't he? Yes, he's 10th position.
Derek Cope in that 50. Again, 41st on his time trial speed. 43rd in last year's owner points. One of the bubble cars today.
Yo! Wow.
That was close.
That 9 car got awfully loose getting into turn 3 right there.
Casey Kane taking over for Bill Elliott in that 9 for Ray Evernham and Dodge this
He
year.
had to get way out of the front. He's going to get passed by a couple more cars there.
It's going to take him out of a transfer spot, possibly. Casey Mears by in the 41. Dale Jarrett working on him now in the 88. And because Greg Biffle is outside of the lead pack, transfer spot now becomes 14th.
And that's it. 88 and 9 are racing for 14th. And Cope, will that 50 car last 3 more laps, 2.5 more laps?
Boy, and you know he's feeling it too. He knows it. He knows he's in the race right now. He's got to hold that spot for 3 more laps. A lot of pressure.
TNT Sports is live at Daytona International Speedway with Speed Weeks 2004, the Gatorade 125, the 2 races to set the starting order for Sunday's Daytona 500. We're down to the final couple of laps in the first of today's 2 races. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leading. We're watching the final automatic transfer race into the 500 between Dale Jarrett in the 88 and Casey Kane in the 9.
And as long as those guys are racing side by side and even 3 abreast, that's going to help those guys in front trying to stay in front of them.
John Andretti getting in the middle of it in the 1.
And they got the 1 car in the middle of the mix, but here comes the lead. Junior in the 8, leading Tony Stewart in 22nd spot. If Tony Stewart were to win this race, it would be unbelievable because they have complained all week about how slow their car has been. But here he is in contention for the win.
Tony started this race in 19th position. Junior started 2nd. Greg Biffle led the opening 22 laps until a set of caution flag pit stops. He lost the lead in the pit stop. It was Michael Waltrip off the pit road first, and then Junior took the lead from him at lap 37. We've now started lap 50. White flag is up. And Dale Jr. seeking his 2nd win in a Gatorade 125. He won his qualifying race a year ago. His other 3 performances on Thursdays here at Daytona finishes of 4th, 2nd, and 2nd. That's a pretty impressive record.
But Tony did complain about his car not being able to close up. You see that gap of 3 or 4 car lengths between him and the 8? That's really what he's complaining about. It will not make up that gap, will not close up on the back bumper of the car in front of him.
Well, his father won 12 of these Thursday qualifying races at Daytona. Today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes his 2nd. Earnhardt Jr. wins race 1, close race for 3rd at the line with McMurray edging Michael Waltrip, it looks like.
And Cope lost 2 spots on the last lap. They put him out. He finished 16th. He was running, actually, he was running 13th.
John Andretti there in the 1, just finishing outside the cut.
No, he did.
No, he did, because Greg Biffle passed Cope also. So Andretti got the last transfer. And the 50 car there left of screen has got to sit back and nervously watch the results of race 2 to see if he'll be in the Daytona 500 or if he'll be watching on Sunday. Let's go to Matt.
And Tony Eury Sr. just climbed to the pit box, and what did you tell me? You've got a lot of work to do still?
Yeah, our car's not very good for some reason. Car was real strong yesterday in practice and was real happy with it. Went back today with the sun out, and it's not very good. So we pushed the right front tire off in that first 23 laps or so we run there when that caution came out. And seemed like our teammate don't want to be a teammate no more. So we ended up dumping him at the end and going to win the race, what we're supposed to do. And that's the way they want to play. That's the way we're going to play.
Should make for an interesting Sunday, guys.
Wow, that was strong.
Michael Waltrip reference there. Woo. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. picks up in the neighborhood of 50 grand for winning today's first Gatorade 125 as we check out the results. Tony Stewart from deep in the pack the 2nd. And what this means is that Earnhardt Jr. will start 3rd, Stewart 5th, McMurray 7th, and so on in Sunday's Daytona 500.
This is the inside line for the lineup of the Daytona 500. There we see Andretti, the last car to transfer in today's race.
And Derek Cope in 16th place. From there on down, did not make the cut. They'll have to wait for the results of the 2nd race and then go back on time trial speed and provisionals to fill out the 500 field. So race number 1 is over. We'll talk with some of the finishers and then set the stage for race number 2 when TNT returns to Daytona. The Gatorade 125s from Daytona International Speedway are brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the Gatorade 125s. Is it in you? AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. And high endurance clear gel from Old Spice. Race number 1 of the Gatorade 125 is over here at Daytona. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in Gatorade Victory Lane with our Bill Weber.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. climbs out his 7th career win at Daytona. And this is a big one. Put you in great shape for Sunday. How was it out there?
Oh, real tight. Man, that first run, you know, we was racing with Greg for 4 or 5 laps, and that's it. Tires were junk after 4 laps, and I knew if I was going to win, I had to get my Michael real quick, and I knew if I didn't push him past that 24, he'd get stuck beside him or behind him one, and he did, and left a little bit of hole down there, and I was going for the win there. So, you know, car's good. I wanted to see what my car would do out front, and it was okay out front, and you know, we got a great car for the 500. Just got to be leading. That's all there is to it.
After the race, Tony Sr. talked with Matt, and he said the 15 and the 8 didn't seem to work together, like the 15 maybe didn't run with you as you expected.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, I was on the outside there at one point in the race early, and we had a pit stop to go, and he went to the inside and left me out there by myself, and, you know, so that kind of wrote the script for the rest of the race for me, and I was out there on my own from then on out. So
should we expect to see you guys together on Sunday like we've seen in the past?
Well, I mean, me and Michael will draft fine together in the future. We just didn't that day today. Me and Tony, same way. We'll race each other one race and help each other the next. But you know, you can have friends, but you can't be friends to the end. I mean, you know, you got to go for the win. But real proud of my team. I got a benchmark my daddy set as far as wins at this place I'm shooting for. And we got another one today.
All right, see you Sunday.
Thank you.
Matt?
Michael, strong comments by Tony Eury Sr. from your teammate on the 8. What happened between yourself and Junior?
You know, it was a dead-end road where Junior was heading. They were all lined up on the bottom, so I just got in line. You know, it wasn't any big deal. I love Dale Jr. We worked so well together. I thought when we caught the 24, it'd be a chance for him to get me. He pushed me so strong to the 24, I couldn't turn my car to the left. He had me pushed out of the way. But, you know, Junior and I, we do a nice job on the track. Those cats on pit road of the 8, you know, you just have to take it with a grain of salt when you hear some of the stuff they come up with.
Still going to work with him on Sunday?
Like I said, I love Dale Jr., and we've had a lot of success together, and that will continue. I thought we did a nice job working together, and I don't blame him for getting the win. The last time I checked, they paid more if you finished first, so our Napa Chevy ran good. That was a great chance for Junior to jump on me. You know, I'm amazed that those crew guys can carry on like that, but we know what the big picture is, and the old Napa Chevy will be a part of it on Sunday.
Big picture's another Daytona 500 win. Dave?
Tony Stewart comes home second. And Tony, after earlier this week, I mean, are you just pleased, surprised, or are you just proud of your guys?
Well, I'm somewhat surprised, I have to admit, but I'm also extremely proud of my guys. I mean, we kind of knew what position we were in the last couple of days, you know, with horsepower. So we just really worked on our car and tried to get the handling the best we could. And, you know, that's what happened today. We just outdrove those guys. We had a car that drove better than a lot of their cars. And, you know, when it came time to move around on the racetrack and go places that we needed to go, you know, we were able to do that with a good car. So I'm proud of all these guys in the Home Depot team today.
This will now be Tony's best start since his outside pole in 1999. Marty?
Well, Dave, inevitably the Twin 125s have some drama in them. Unfortunately, it's bad drama for Derek Cope today. You were running in the top 10, looked like you were in the field easily. Then what happened, Derek?
Oh, I just tried to, I had a run at Andretti, and then he tried to, you know, move his way in line, and then he just tried to hit me in the rear and turn me sideways. I saved it, but I lost all my momentum, and then out front we're tough without nobody pushing, and I thought Mears was going to hang with me, and, you know, he got me on the outside. A mistake on my part, but, you know, just a fun race, you know, and just unfortunate that we come up a little short. We'll just have to see how the second race goes and see if we get in or not.
How difficult will it be to watch that second race, Derek?
I've been there before. I'll be there again probably, so I'll just get up there and what comes may, you know, we'll deal with it. But it's unfortunate for these guys because, you know, they gave me a great race car. Mike Hillman, the guys, I got oiled down the first segment. Caution come out, we come in, he freed it up, and she was good from there, and I just hung out there for a while and, you know, made some good moves and got a little bit of help, and I thought we were going to be in good shape, and then that I let Andretti in about 3 times to save his ass, and then over here, he just, Middle Giant went crazy.
The 1990 winner will have to wait to see how race 2 unfolds to see if he'll be in the 500.
There's no emotion in racing.
I tell you what, I love it. Already, we've had a qualifying race, and already they're emotional. Atta boys!
Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the first of today's Gatorade 125s. They're gridding the cars for race number 2. We'll turn our attention in that direction when NASCAR on TNT returns to the Daytona International Speedway. Huge sports week here on TNT, from Daytona and NASCAR Speed Weeks to Hollywood and the NBA All-Star Game.
Sunday night, TNT presents the NBA's brightest stars.
On LA's biggest stage.
Truth about Kevin Garnett, best all-around player in the game.
Truth about Vince Carter is, did you see that?
Truth about Iverson is, now you see him.
Oh, watch out.
Now you don't.
The truth about Shaq Diesel, only the most dominant player on planet Earth.
Let the truth be told.
The 2004 NBA All-Star Game.
Live from Los Angeles.
Exclusively on TNT. Welcome to my house.
Got the rookie game on Friday night in prime time for the first time. LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony are going to team up. Yao Ming's going to head the sophomore team. They're going to play again Saturday night, the slam dunk contest and three-point shootout, preceded by 3 hours of All-Star Weekend programming. And then Sunday, the 53rd NBA All-Star Game. Shaq, Tim Duncan, and more mixing with the stars of Hollywood. NBA All-Star Weekend on TNT coming up. Dave?
And the man who carried those All-Star colors, Jeff Burton, to a 5th place run here. And I heard you describe an imperfect race car to other guys.
Well, we've got a mechanical issue going on with, I don't know what it is. The thing quits running. It misses and pops, and then it does it the whole rest of the race. The first 5 or 7 laps, it's fine. And then it'll start doing it. It's done it every day, and we can't find it. We've changed everything in the car, and I just can't seem to find it. The handle's pretty good. It's not quite as good as it needs to be, but if we can get that thing out of it, it's going to go real fast.
All right, more work to do, but a great starting spot for Jeff Burton. Alan?
He's kind of describing the same thing the pit reporters were telling us about from Dale Jarrett's car earlier, too. Race number 2 is next on TNT when we come back to Daytona.
TNT's live coverage of NASCAR continues as we get ready for the second of the 2 Gatorade Twin 125 qualifying races. These guys got to sit and watch and learn in race number 1. We'll see what happens in race number 2. It's a 22-car field. They're paused for the command. So let's go trackside and get the engine started for race number 2.
And now here to get the command is the Grand Marshal of Gatorade race number 2, Curtis Lepley, the merchandising manager of South Florida ExxonMobil.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Elliott Sadler and Ricky Rudd make up an all-Ford front row, but this race has big names from front to back. Let's start in row 3 with Dave Burns.
Well, it was a very positive week for Kevin Harvick. He quit several practices early, and he was able to use yesterday's final practice to go to the back of the pack, to lead, to drive back and forth. They know that his car will either lead the entire way if he can get there, or if he goes back, it'll follow up and come through the pack very well. Marty?
Dave, practiced yesterday not so good for Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. The car had right front tire problems. I asked Chad what he learned from watching the first race. He said, my worst nightmares are coming true. That's what I learned. Someone is going to have right front tire problems in this race. I just hope it's not us. Matt?
Marty, after crashing in Saturday night shootout, Ryan Newman is just trying to bounce back to a rough start to Speed Weeks. He has a very strong Daytona 500 car. A little too much downforce, which hurt the car running by itself in qualifying, but should help the car while running in a pack of cars. He told me it maneuvers extremely well. He can go low, he can go high at will. Bill?
Matt, 22 cars, 50 laps, 125 miles away from the Daytona 500. Will it be Victory Lane or I-95 North? We're all about to find out.
Looking for
Well, his father won 12 of these Thursday qualifying races at Daytona. Today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes his second.
Welcome back to Daytona. Why do you really want a good starting spot for Sunday? Well, only twice has the Daytona 500 been won by a driver starting outside the top 20. Bobby Allison started 33rd and won here in 1978. The other guy, the king of cool, Benny Parsons in 75 from 32nd. Back upstairs to Alan Wally in VP.
How about you, king of cool?
Thank you very much, Bill.
There you go. All right, let's take a look at the lineup for the second of today's qualifying races to set that starting field for the Daytona 500. Elliott Sadler winning the outside pole last Sunday in Bud Pole qualifying. He's locked into the 500. This is a test session from him. Everyone else trying to grab one of the other top 14 finishing positions besides Elliott Sadler to get a locked-in up-front spot for Sunday's race.
Great qualifying run for Kevin LePage and Joe Nemechek back in row 2. And Harvick, Sterling Marlin, I think they will be heard from before this race is over.
Heard a concern on the part of Jimmy Johnson's team over the tire issue here. He's going to come from row 4 with Rusty Wallace. Jeremy Mayfield will drop to the back of the field. His team changed an engine during the week this week. And in row 6, Robbie Gordon.
You know, Dave Burns was talking about Harvick having a good car, not putting a lot of laps. Another guy, Robbie Gordon, pretty happy with his car. Hey, Robbie, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Hit him again.
How about it, Robbie? This is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Wally. How are you?
Doing good. Now, you had a car cover on your car most of the day yesterday, and that's usually a good sign from a driver. You must be pretty happy with that car right now.
So excited about our car. It was pretty fast in both the practices. We think we have a good race car. Obviously, the key to today is getting through here with a clean car. We won the 125 last year, but we're not going to take any unnecessary chances. Try to save this thing for the 500. One thing we do know is this car is better than the one we have in the trailer.
Well, that's good. Now, you watched the first race. Any concerns with tires for you guys? You guys pretty good?
We had some 25-lap runs in practice. We feel pretty good about our car. You know, it does concern me we have it running this kind of temperature. It's the hottest it's been down here. I was able to talk to both Craig Biffle and Johnny Sauter, and you know, they said they definitely both of them had tire issues. Unfortunately, our car was already pushed through tech at that time, so there's nothing you can do about it after the first stop. I'm sure Chris Andrews and everybody on the Singular Wireless team will make some changes to it, and hopefully it's the right ones, so we can take this thing to the front.
Okay, Robbie, hope so. Good luck.
Thank you.
Robbie Gordon, defending winner of his Gatorade 125, going to line up in row 6. Race number 2 starts when we come back to Daytona. TNT's live coverage of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series is from Daytona International Speedway. A beautiful mid-80-degree day. Hope it's like that where you are. And we're getting set to watch Gatorade 125 race number 2. They are less than a lap from the green flag for the second of the qualifying races. And let's head down to pit road. Bill, what do you have?
Alan Elliott Sadler will start on the front row for the Daytona 500. Will he protect his car today? No. Crew Chief Todd Parrott says they will race for the win. Ricky Rudd won the pole here in '83. His best finish third in '81. His best chance to win the Daytona 500 might be 2004. We'll see what happens. Matt?
Bill, the window for Rusty Wallace to win his first Daytona 500 is slowly closing. 0 for 21. If this is the magic year, he needs to help himself today with a strong starting spot. But what the 2 team has to deal with, 2 new pit crew members. They tested guys yesterday, put them on a plane today. A new jackman and tire carrier for Rusty Wallace, Dave.
And Mark Martin is also looking for his first Daytona win. He has been using words like perfect to describe his car all week long, and he just radioed to his guys, this is a warm-up for Sunday. We can do this thing. Marty?
Dave, defending Cup champion Matt Kenseth has what he describes as an average car for this weekend so far. They've gotten it better as the weekend has gone along. Now this morning, Robbie Reiser told me the tire wear has been so good for us, I would consider taking only 2 in this race. After watching the first race, no way. I've got to have 4 tires if you're going to win this thing.
All right, so the stories from pit road as we get ready for the green flag in Gatorade 125 race number 2. 50 laps is the distance today. The pit window, the 25 if they make it there. We saw the caution come out for a tire problem on Scott Rigg's car in the first qualifying race at lap 22.
That's exactly right. Now and all these guys are concerned about that. So I doubt very seriously these teams will run these drivers much past lap 25 if it's perfect.
The top 14 finishers, not including Elliott Sadler, automatically transfer into the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Pace car is coming off. Crowd is standing up. And the green flag is about to wave here on Gatorade 125, race number 2.
Wanted to go down low.
Nice drafting push from Kevin Harvick behind him in the 29. And so the inside lane starts to move forward.
A lot different than the first race when Biffle and Junior ran side by side for about 4 laps. Already Sadler has the lead, and Ricky Rudd has moved back to about 4th or 5th and a half lap. Oh, here he comes.
So fast. Look at that second lane come forward. Ricky Rudd up to the outside of Sadler for the lead. 3 deep farther back, Jeremy Mayfield, who dropped to the end of the field. Trying to come forward. He had changed an engine during the weekend, as had the Ken Schrader team.
Well, I'm impressed with Ricky Rudd. I thought was completely out of it. Here he comes by himself with really no drafting help.
Joe Nemechek behind him.
Then finally Nemechek gets up there. The 0-1 car of Nemechek this morning, Ryan Pemberton and the crew installed a bar behind the front bumper so he could go up and knock those drivers past their competitors.
And Joe was pretty concerned about tire issues a couple of days ago. And talking with him this morning, he said that they thought they got the car a lot better, so they weren't as concerned about it as they were a couple of days ago, but it's still there.
It's Mike Skinner back in the middle of that group in that blue car trying to work his way to the front. Another car that really needs to get in the top 15.
Yeah, Skinner with no provisional to fall back on because this is an extra car out of the Richard Childress shop this week. And his time trial speed was only 36th fastest. So
watching that car on the draft track, so he looked like he had a pretty good car in the draft. So Mike gets around this place really good. He knows how to draft really well, so he could be okay.
He was 13th that time by. Solidly in the Daytona 500.
Ricky Rudd poking out in front for the race lead as the inside line falls back a little bit. Rudd to the point, and that's Ryan Newman down low.
Going by Brian Vickers.
Is he flirting with it?
He was flirting with that yellow line.
Wally's a pretty cool customer up here at the booth. He's pretty relaxed when he sits back in his chair and watches, but when he jumps up to the edge of his seat and starts looking and pointing, something's got his attention. That's right. He's at 3 deep. Who's that, Jimmy Johnson
Jimmy
up there?
Johnson in the center. Then you've got Robbie Gordon there.
Has Robbie said anything about the 31 car?
Robbie Gordon talking to a spotter says the middle is just not working. Right before the green, Richard Childress said, you need to conserve the wear on that right front tire. Go to the high side and just save it. Robbie said 10-4. I've already talked to Johnny. He's trying to work his way up to the high line.
Yeah, that sometimes takes 5 or 6 laps to get an opening to where you can get up on the high line. Right now, he's tucked in behind Ricky Craven.
Did you see
these guys
Sterling
just
Marlin
cutting it close.
in the Coors Light car, the silver machine, just about got into the left rear of Joe Nemechek, trying to get underneath him and fill that gap in the trial. That's for 3rd place.
Harvick in the middle now. Marte, what are they saying about the 48 of Jimmy Johnson?
Well, it's not a lot of fun to be in the middle, is it?
No, it's not, especially if you're not handling.
He said, tell the 17, I didn't mean to be so aggressive, but I had to get to the top. I couldn't be in the middle any longer.
Yeah. It's a different day. We saw some of that going on in the Bud Shootout at night, but, you know, the track is slippery right now. It's hot. There's a lot more temperature. Just don't think you want to be there.
And Ricky Craven is there now. Again, you're right. He doesn't want to be there. But now he's clear. He could go up if he wants.
How about Ricky Craven, Matty?
One advantage, Alan, to running in the second Twin 125. You can listen on the radios to what the other teams were talking about during the first Twin. They heard so many teams running hot. Ricky Craven's team took a little extra tape off that front grille just so when they were tucked up for traffic, the car would not be running too hot.
Now they got Harvick going to try to go through the middle.
Boy.
I hope that's going to work or not.
Wow. Got a pretty good run on Kevin LePage right there, so he might pull it off. Got Craven behind him.
He'll be about the 5th position on back. How about the champion, Matt Kenseth, Marty?
And speaking of listening on the radio, that's exactly what Robbie Reiser did during the first Twin 125, just like Matt was just talking about. The one thing he learned, cars were very tight in that session. He was worried the 17 would be too tight. He said, I don't think we have it freed up enough, so that first stop for us will be very critical.
That 3-deep race is for 8th position. Kevin LePage on the inside, Ricky Craven in the middle. And Matt Kenseth up on the outside.
Robbie Gordon drops down behind LePage. He's going to give him a push, maybe? Not quite.
And Vickers is trying to push the 32 of Ricky Craven. That's Vickers in the blue and black 25. A Rebesses Rookie Challenger this year.
So excited at the prospect of racing in his first Daytona 500 on Sunday.
I asked Brian, he was the NASCAR Busch Series champion last year, and I wondered what was the biggest difference in the Busch and the Cup. And he said, man, these Cup guys, they are aggressive. They go for it every lap. Marty?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I talked to him this morning about the same thing. He said he couldn't believe how aggressive these guys were. He had to step up his game a little bit. He said to me, this ain't the Busch Series.
Nope, troubles.
We got somebody pushing out water out there all of a sudden.
Kevin LePage.
Yeah.
Blew the motor. Blew the motor.
There you go. That's too bad. Kevin started this race in 3rd position. He'll be in the 500, no problem. He had the 6th fastest time trial speed to fall back on. But they have some work to do between now and Sunday on the 4-car. Ricky Rudd, Elliott Sadler, Sterling Marlin, top 3. A little breakaway at the front of the Gatorade 125, race number 2. TNT Sports live at Daytona International Speedway with the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Looking to set the starting field for Sunday's Daytona 500. This is the second of today's Gatorade 125's. 5-car breakaway at the head of the field. The pack separated a little bit by Kevin LePage when he had troubles in the pack a minute ago. Watch the 4-car.
That's him. You see him going up the hill, almost getting in the side of the 25 as he slows, coming off turn 2. That's what you're talking about. The accordion effect got the 31 of Robbie Gordon, the 12 of Ryan Newman. They had to back off and let all these cars go by.
Yeah, 31 car had nowhere to go. He had to just wait until all the traffic up ahead of him or beside him went by, so he lost a lot of positions. He had to drop off the throttle, lost a lot of momentum, and Robbie's back in 17th right now.
It's going to be so unnerving. There's all the bits and pieces out of the 4-car bouncing off the 31's windshield at 190 miles an hour.
Metals flying at you is not good.
Ricky Rudd out in front, took the lead away at lap 3 from pole sitter Elliott Sadler. You see Elliott running 2nd now. As that 5-car breakaway tries to get distance on the pack. Bill?
Been very quiet for Ricky Rudd. They just told him to focus, run your line. But a few laps ago, he did say it's starting to shove up a little bit, shoving up a little bit, meaning the car is starting to tighten up just a little bit for Ricky Rudd. Been a great week for him so far and a great race here, Dave.
We've talked about how the guys are putting bumpers on these cars that might be used at a short track. How about brake and tire blowers? The 38 car has one pointed at the right front today, which is unusual for a super speedway. They had issues with their right front last week in the Budweiser shootout. They hope they fixed it for today. His car just a little bit tight from the center off, according to Elliott radioing in.
You know, these guys are really probably using their hand signals right now, just saying stay in line, because this pack is broken away and they're starting to make a little.
You see, that's the gap we're showing you there between the leader Ricky Rudd and the first car in the next pack, Jimmy Johnson. And those guys in the second pack, Wally, are trying to do the same thing.
Right, they're trying to, they're trying to stay in line and trying to make some ground. The only problem with that front pack is it looks like Harvick is going up the racetrack like he can't run the bottom. And if he keeps doing that, they may catch him.
Kevin Harvick looks like he's overheating. He keeps moving inside, outside. Looks to me like he's trying to get some clean air. Dave, what's he saying?
He's overheating, BP.
Oh, thank you.
Exactly. He said his car's a little bit hot right now and that his car's a little bit tight. We talked about that in the first 125. You run up on top, you help correct that situation a little bit.
Dr. Parsons with the correct diagnosis.
Well, I mean, sometimes he'd run low through the corner, sometimes high through the corner. So I just felt like that. And these guys back in the pack, overheating is going to be a problem.
So things kind of settled in line for the moment. We're still a good 10 laps away from the pit stops. We'll come back if anything happens, but for now, we're watching NASCAR on TNT. Lots more racing from Daytona coming up this weekend. Saturday on NBC at noon Eastern time, the Hershey's Kisses 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series. And then Sunday at noon Eastern on NBC, the Daytona 500. Coverage starting with Discover Card Countdown to Green. And don't forget our encore presentation of the 500 Monday night, 2 a.m. Eastern on TNT. If you just want to see it again, there it is. And there have been a lot of 500s, very much worth just wanting to see again. 18 laps of 50 complete in the second of the Gatorade 125s. Only one car out of the race. Its driver is with Marty.
Very, very short day for Kevin LePage, and an engine failure, I guess, better today than on Sunday, right, Kevin?
Well, that's true, Marty. You know, my hat's off to all the guys back at the engine shop. I mean, they worked real hard during the wintertime to get this YokeTV.com Monte Carlo up front. We did. We qualified 6th the other day, and unfortunately, we had to run the 125s to determine where we're going to start on Sunday. But for some reason, just something let go, and it was scary down in there because we were all in the touch, you know, real tough pack, close together, a lot of bump drafting going on, and now I know why guys were reinforcing their front bumper. My front bumper's beat all the heck, and it wasn't from me. The guys pushing me into the guys in front of me, but the guys got another good motor here, and this wasn't going to be our 500 motor anyway. We had one we were going to put in, but we're just putting it in about, I don't know, 41 laps too soon, I guess.
There you go. He does have the 6th fastest qualifying time, as talked about, safely in the 500.
Well, he talked about not using that engine in the 500. They had to use one engine from qualifying through the 125s. Now, tomorrow they will install a fresh engine, and that engine has to stay in the car through the Daytona 500. If you change, then you have to start at the rear of the field.
You can try NASCAR.com's Track Pass absolutely free. BP's favorite word. During Speed Weeks. Log on to NASCAR.com. You can get live race coverage, including in-car audio, telemetry data, and video highlights from all of the events taking place here at Daytona.
Well, that second pack, Timmy Johnson anyway, is slowly but surely catching those guys in front of him.
He's gained about 0.2 of a second on that pack, and the closer he gets, the faster he'll gain on them.
At 0.2 on that last lap.
Yeah.
So
really needs for Rusty and Matt Kenseth to get a little bit closer behind him.
I'll tell you what, these guys watched that first race, and they're all just sitting there very, very concerned about their tires. As Kenseth tries to go by Rusty Wallace and take over that position, that would be a battle for the 7th spot.
We're right at that mark, BP, where Scott Riggs had his trouble.
Chad Knaus quoted in the local Daytona Beach papers here earlier this morning with some very, very strong comments about the tire situation, saying in so many words NASCAR was trying to hurt someone with this softer tire combination. We asked Chad to elaborate on that a little further this morning in the garage area. Here's what he had to say.
We as NASCAR, Goodyear, the teams, everybody trying to get the aero package and the tire package figured out, and we're just having a hard time with it. You know, we had a set of tires on the car that the right front came apart. Now, whether that was a reason because of setup or aerodynamics or driver, we don't really know for sure yet. It's just a bit of a concern of mine. Nobody wants to hurt any drivers. We all know that, and we all know that everybody's doing the best job that they can right now. You know, we made some pretty dramatic changes to the car to try to get it a little bit better, to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Thoughts of Chad Knaus following up on some printed quotes that were a little bit stronger, I think, than he intended to come out. But you can hear the frustration in his voice. I spoke with him in the garage this morning. He is frustrated because nobody wants to run into a situation like this. They think they're doing the right things to their race car, but it's obviously not working out.
And that's all it is. I mean, Chad is very frustrated trying to get a handle on the car. What NASCAR is trying to do is make the racing better. That's what they're trying to do. That was their plan for this tire. And I think once these teams get a handle on it, it's going to be great racing.
Well, it is going to be last Saturday night's race. The Budweiser shootout could not have been better. Here we go. Battle for the lead.
Yep. Elliott Sadler with no drafting help.
And Harvick has moved up to the 3rd position as these cars now at about 20 laps, they've started that pushing and they're slowing down, aren't they, Bill?
Yes, they are. About 5 laps away from a pit stop for Ricky Rudd. On the radio, the car is tight and loose out front. He has both conditions. He said it'll be different if we end up back in the pack. But the car had been excellent getting into 1. That's where he had the advantage, but that's gone now.
I think Harvick is going to be looking for a way around that 38 fast. Yeah, as soon as he can.
Harvick the second, Sterling Marlin now alongside Rudd for third, and Joe Nemechek is the last of the front 5 draft there.
He may be moving around against Marin. That goal, he still looks tight to me, Kevin Harvick does.
I think he is a little bit tight.
That little bit of side-by-side racing up front allowed that second group to chop some of their deficit away.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. If they're out there for a half a lap, that group in the back will catch them.
We're a lap away from halfway. Marty, what's 48 team thinking pit stop-wise?
They're probably going to try to extend it as far as they can, probably around lap 35. They like to come with their teammate, Brian Vickers, but he is behind them. They're trying to work with Matt Kenseth as to where they can work together to run that front pack down. Jimmy wants to run the high line. Matt does as well. Matt is concerned that if he runs the bottom line, he's going to wear out that right front too much, Dave.
6-car Mark Martin is running in the pack, but I don't think he's smiling like it was at the beginning. He reports a motor situation going into the turns. He says it feels like it's dying. Remember, his teammate, the 99 of Jeff Burton, in the first race had trouble as well. Matt?
Ryan Newman, Dave, is slowly catching that pack in front. He's left both Schrader and Robbie Gordon. He doesn't have a pitting partner, so Matt Borland told Ryan, if you see the guys in front, hit pit road, go with it. We are ready. Going to make a chassis adjustment. His car is just way too tight off turn 2.
And remember, if you're not all that familiar with NASCAR strategy, here at Daytona where the engines are restricted, you don't want to pit by yourself. You want to have a drafting partner to help you get up to speed more quickly when you leave after your pit stop.
Which is why the pit stops are so important anyway. Even if you don't have it, if you come in with a group, if you have one little glitch in a pit stop, you're going to lose all that time with the guys that you've come in with and you've been running with on the racetrack the whole time.
No takers on the pit stops this lap by as the leaders come storming by the entrance to pit road.
Did Marty say lap 35?
Yeah, well, see, what the difference is, they can go that far on fuel, but do they want to push the tires that far? And the gamble you take, if you short pit, if you stop now, and somebody else runs to lap 35 and the caution comes out before they pit, you got problems.
Then you're going to be a lap down, and you can't win from there. So that's the concern they all have. I'm sure that each of these drivers and teams would love to pit right now and change 4 tires, but they've all got to do it. If someone stays out, catches that caution, just like Alan said,
I'd be surprised to see if they go lap 35.
But yeah, then there's the rub on the strategy. If someone's car is going to be handling so poorly after seeing what happened in the first race with Scott Riggs' car, they're going to make a move to pit road. And once one gets fresh tires, everybody will be heading to pit road.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Yep. No takers yet. On board, Kevin Harvick, second place driver. I talked with Kevin a couple days ago in the garage as he was making his practice runs, and he is just so content. He said, no changes to our team over the winter. That's the first time that's happened since I've been with RCR. I'm so happy with the way my team is structured, the way it's set, the way we're performing. This is going to be a really great year for me.
Makes a big difference. Got that confidence that everything's going to be like it was or better than last year.
Hey, Marty, what about the strategy now? What are they saying?
I was saying they can go to lap 35 should they choose to do that. Hendrick team's about 2 laps away. Roush team's coming in this time.
Here they come. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth on the brakes. Mark Martin, Mike Skinner, Ryan Newman, Scott Wimmer trying to walk him down. That's Scott Wimmer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Marty.
Jimmy Johnson hitting pit road. His car was tight on that run. It got tighter the longer they ran. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. You see that in the left side. It'll be 4 tires. Other than that, pretty happy, Bill.
Checking out some more pit stops. Dave, go ahead.
No changes for Mark Martin, and they didn't lift the hood, which is a good sign. 4 tires for Mark.
The 12 is in. Ryan Newman, chassis adjustment. The car was tight. Mike Skinner a little over the line. He had to back up. Luck's going on. The left side of Ryan Newman, service complete. Work still going on Skinner Chevrolet.
Boy, that's going to cost Mike there because they all left without him.
Yep.
And he's going to lose that draft.
Now some of the other front runners coming in. Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Jeremy Mayfield. And some of the cars toward the back of the running order. Ken Schrader, Kyle Petty, Brian Vickers, Johnny Benson, all coming into pit. So the leader, Elliott Sadler, has stayed out. Dave?
Well, Jeremy Mayfield's going to be the guy that tries the 2-tire stop. They're going to take 2 right side tires and send him on his way. Phil?
Rusty Wallace on pit road, chassis adjustment, 4-tire stop, a battle for him to get to the front here, not running as well as they had hoped. All by himself here on pit road, long stop, Marty.
Boy, Bill, Brian Vickers came through, just absolutely overshot his pits. They had to push him back, losing valuable time here on pit road. More importantly, losing drafting partners. He had a great handling car. Then when he came back in, he was too close to the wall. Now he stalls the car trying to leave pit road.
Ken Schrader overshot his pit too. Jeremy Mayfield with just right side tires. We'll check that. Now the leaders are in. Dave.
The 38 of Elliott Sadler, they agreed with the 29, and coming out in this lap of Kevin Harvick, they're going to change 4 tires, make a slight air pressure adjustment to try to help Elliott's tight race car. Bill?
Slight air pressure adjustment for Ricky Rudd. Car getting a little tight, trying to find the handle. 4 tires and fuel, he'll be heading back out. Matt?
Robbie Gordon nursed his Chevrolet into his pit stall. He told his team that he flat spotted the right front on entering the pit road. It is indeed flat. They made a chassis adjustment. We told you earlier, the car was just too tight for Robbie. He couldn't keep it on the bottom. Hopefully this will help.
The problem is that all the cars are gone. Robbie Gordon is going to be on the racetrack by himself.
Well, now he's got the 32 in front of him of Ricky Craven, but that's the thing we talked about, boy. Man, you cannot make a little mistake on pit road.
Go ahead, Dave.
The 29 car of Kevin Harvick pitted. Did he lose his drafting partner, the 38 guys, or not?
No, he's right with him.
Very good. They had a great pit stop. No chassis changes to the car. They did take a little tape off the front end to try to help that overheating situation.
I actually thought he might get out ahead of Elliott Sadler because Sadler had to brake hard before turning into his pit box from somebody else leaving their pit stall when he was coming in. Almost got tangled up with another car, but Sadler's crew able to get him out in front of Kevin Harvick.
Well, the guys that had trouble, we got Skinner, Schrader, and Vickers are all running together.
Yeah. But here's the big story. Head of the field is Jeremy Mayfield. Remember, they just got right side tires Saturday night in the Budweiser shootout? And he was the only one who did that tonight. Instead of being out there with 6 other guys, he's all by himself, and here comes the charge.
Yep, and when they get to him, probably charge on by.
The field of 4 tired cars headed by Elliott Sadler.
And that pit stop by Skinner has him back in the 17th position.
And he's running with Kyle, but he's lost the pack. It's just those 2 cars, so they got a lot of ground to make up.
I want to get Marty to check also. I think Johnny Benson might have gotten just right side tires. But I want to get him to confirm that. But here they come up on Mayfield's bumper.
Mayfield.
Goodbye.
Yep.
And baby, 29's coming with you.
Hard to stop that momentum when that pack comes up on you like that. You're out there by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of factors there. He's only got the right side tires, plus he has no drafting help, Dave.
On top of the pit box now, Kenny Francis on the end, and Sammy Johns right in the middle there, watching to see what happens with this 2-tire stop. It's a gamble. He got lots of track position, but now they want to see how long he can last up in the lead pack. Matt?
Now, when we talk about flat spotted tires, you can see this is the right front tire of Robbie Gordon. When he locked it up, it's much like we taking a racer on a desk and just grind away. That's exactly what happened to the rubber on this Goodyear tire. Robbie was supposed to pit the lap before. He made the call from the cockpit to stay out 1 more lap, and it cost him dearly on the racetrack, guys.
Robbie Gordon back in 15th place right now, though he is in the last transfer spot. Elliott Sadler leads the second of today's Gatorade 125's. The Gatorade 125's from Daytona International Speedway, brought to you by Budweiser. It's time for a fresh one. Grab a Budweiser, the race is on. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. 14 laps to go.
Lead pack has 8 cars in it. Elliott Sadler the leader in 38, 8th place. Ricky Rudd. And all these guys trying to figure out what can we do to win this thing.
Yep. Yes, sir. It looks like everybody is just a lot more single file in this race for sure, and the pack is broken up quite a bit more. Of course, we haven't had any yellows, but
you know, it's funny, we've been talking about some of the issues with the Roush and Yates engines. Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, and some of the guys reporting. Obviously, Elliott Sadler's having no troubles. He's up there leading the race. This is unfortunately one spot out of the transfer position. Kyle Petty and Mike Skinner, and you see how far they are behind the transfer spot, Robbie Gordon. 8 seconds.
8 seconds, we only have a dozen laps to go. There's no way in the world he can make that time up without a caution flag.
Right.
And for Mike Skinner, coming into the race in an extra Richard Childress car, he has no provisional to fall back on. He was 36th fastest on his time trial speed. It's going to be tight.
And he was running good. It's just whatever happened in the pits there cost him.
And so things are kind of settled down up front. So we're going to take a break from here in Daytona, come back and get you set up for the finish of the second of the Gatorade 125s. Elliott Sadler is out in front. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. It's TNT sports coverage of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series from Daytona International Speedway in sunny Florida. The final laps of today's Gatorade 125 qualifying races.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, tried to get up to the front, trying to win the race. He's on the outside. They're side by side. Marty, what's he saying?
He's been pretty happy with the car, BP, trying to find out which lane works best. He's trying to get someone to help run behind him in the top line. That's where he wants to run. Finally, Mark Martin provided that help. Now he got to pass the one car he wanted to get by.
And Nemechek, the car, the 0-1 car, but he's fast enough that he's alongside these cars, and the front three cars getting away from them.
Yeah, Joe's car's hanging real tough down there. In fact, I'm surprised nobody's dropped down there to follow the 0-1 car.
They're not quite close enough to do it. I mean, it's Ford's teammates behind Mark Martin, so there's nobody to drop down there and help him. Our Napa Field summary. 4 leaders, 5 lead changes in this second race. The only car out, Kevin LePage, caution-free so far. In race number 2, just joining us, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the first of the Gatorade 125s. Nemechek squeezes up in line behind Jimmy Johnson and in front of Mark Martin.
Look, Jimmy Johnson, he got one spot, and he's got about 7 laps to go to try to get the rest of them.
By the way, we were talking about Mike Skinner and being out of touch. Right now, my unofficial calculations, he gets the last spot on time in the 500. But if one of these cars in front of him in this race drops out and he can't repass Kyle Petty, then he's out. So it's going to be tight. Marty, how about the champ, Matt Kenseth?
He wants a push from Ricky Rudd, but Ricky can't get to him. He said, if Ricky can get to my rear bumper, I can help Mark out and we can get past Nemechek, but he can't get the help from the 21 that he needs, Dave.
After Jeremy Mayfield made that 2-tire stop, the pack caught him and blew by him. I checked with crew chief Kenny Francis to see if he thought that would work if he had had help from a couple of other cars to make their own pack to draft with. And Kenny said, yeah, we had that worked out, but they kind of bailed on us. He wouldn't give up who it was. Now, of course, Sunday, Jeremy will have teammate Casey Kane working with him, who has now joined him in the pit to show support and learn what he can.
There's Casey Kane. A man from Enumclaw, Washington, who has taken Bill Elliott's place in the 9 car for Ray Evernham's Dodge team.
You see, Jeremy Mayfield has fallen back to Rusty Wallace, the 2 car, Ryan Newman with the 12, and Johnny Benson, the 09. He was just past. He was leading this group just a couple of minutes ago. And finally, here comes Mark and Kenseth trying to get on the inside of Nemechek.
Teammates ganging up.
Be for 5th place.
Joe Nemechek just can't find a friend out there. The car was tight. They loosened it up. Brian Pemberton did on the stop. Was running good, but he just got ganged up on out there.
Yeah. Now the teammates trying to work against him.
5 to go. On board Matt Kenseth. Joe Nemechek had a great line the other day. Lieutenant General Dennis Cavan runs the U.S. Army Recruiting Command that's responsible for the Army program on this race car. And he said, Lieutenant General Cavan told me the U.S. Army doesn't get points for finishing second.
Good point.
Wow. He said, I got the message. Matt Kenseth running 7th, Marty.
He helped his teammate get past Joe Nemechek, but he said, it's like I'm dead in the water. Unless he gets some help from the 21, it's just not working. He said, it just will not go unless I have someone pushing me. I can't do it all by myself.
And he's falling back.
Yep.
21 is falling falling back off of both of those guys. He obviously has some handling issues right now.
Well, I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of springs and shocks flying around in that garage here, because we've seen today in these Gatorade 125s, handling is going to be the key winning and losing the Daytona 500s.
Right, if you can keep your right foot down the longest, you're going to have the best car out there.
You know, I'm sure anybody that watched last Saturday night's Budweiser shootout and the great side-by-side racing and all the passing we saw is looking at this, where the cars are having difficulty handling and saying, what happened? Well, the difference is Saturday night it was cool and night, and this is very warm. It's about 84 degrees here today here at Daytona. Sunday it's expected to be in the upper 60s to around 70 for the forecast.
That ought to help.
Dave?
And this is a good day for some people helping out on that 38 car. Did you guys realize that the sponsor on the 38 M&Ms has never won a race of any kind? And they've only been a sponsor in NASCAR's Winston Cup and now Nextel Cup division. So this will be the first win of any kind for them. Bill?
Well, Sterling Marlin having an okay day out there. Not great, not all that bad. But the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, asked the 40 when it gets tight, if it's high or low. And Sterling said when it's low. And we're trying to run together. Wasn't working out. Still trying to work out a little bit here. And see what happens down the stretch.
Well, maybe if Harvick, if those guys get a plan, BP, he'll back off a little bit, see if they can make a run at Elliott Sadler right there.
That's what they're doing, right, Wally? They're planning to gang up on the leader.
Yeah, that's what I think Harvick wants to know where, Sterling can run. And right there, you see they're laying back just a little bit, and that's what they need to do. They need to get off that 38 car and then all make a run and blow by him. That's what they're working on.
But in the corner, it doesn't look like Sterling can stay close enough to the 29 to really help push him by the 38.
It better be a pretty short-term plan, because there's only a lap and a half to go.
See, Sterling catches the 29 at the end of the straightaway. They get to the corner, and then he falls back a couple of car lengths. Doesn't look like he's able to stick. Stuck pretty good that time, didn't he?
Yeah, that's going to have to make it happen right here. If they got a little bit of a run, maybe.
White flag coming up as Elliott Sadler comes to the line. Marty?
I just checked with Chad Canals, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief. He said, we're good, but that's all we've got right there. It's not like I'm the 8 car. I can't do it all on my own.
Final lap of the second Gatorade 125. Elliott Sadler in search of a Daytona victory. Remember, he's already locked into the outside front row starting spot in Sunday's race by virtue of setting the second fastest time trial speed in Bud Pole qualifying on Sunday.
Oh, there's the block.
For second place, Sterling Marlin. Oh, contact there. Here comes Jimmy Johnson to get them both if he can.
Yeah, I think he will. That little bit of contact there may have cost them both.
Because you know that both those guys had to back off the throttle when they made contact in 3.
Now, Sterling's got a good run on the outside.
Johnson with the shorter turn. Sadler wins. Marlin gets second. Elliott Sadler with a win in the second of the Gatorade 125s. And Kevin Harvick shuffled back to 5th in that last half lap of this race.
And Robbie Gordon, who was so optimistic about his car, will finish in 15th position.
Well, M&M's has got to win now.
Got him a win now.
What a speed week for Elliott Sadler so far. And for Robert Yates Racing, for that matter. A team that had its struggles in 2003. They won the Budweiser shootout last Saturday night. Elliott Sadler has won his Gatorade 125 today. Remember, he finished second in the Daytona 500 of 2002. He's obviously got a very strong car for Sunday's running of the Great American Race. Results from the race, and look at who's in the 500 and who's not when we come back to Daytona. At Daytona International Speedway, the second Gatorade 125 qualifying race is over, and here's how they ran. Elliott Sadler with the victory.
And Ryan Newman will come in 10th spot. He and his teammate Rusty Wallace, 9th and 10th.
And remember, these cars will start from Sterling Marlin on down, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, and so on in the 500. Back through the 15th place finisher, Robbie Gordon, got the last transfer spot, so he'll start 30th in the Daytona 500. Everyone else from there on down to fall back on their time trial speed or last year point standings to get one of the final positions in the 500 field.
So Kevin LePage, no doubt, will start in the 31st position.
So Elliott Sadler with a win for Robert Yates Racing, And he is down in Gatorade Victory Lane, where he's getting set to climb out of his Ford and celebrate a Daytona victory. Bill?
And as you guys mentioned, it's the first victory of any kind for his sponsor, M&M's. And what has been a huge week for Robert Yates Racing continues. Welcome to Gatorade Victory Lane. Congratulations.
This is great, Bill Wobble. Biggest win of my professional career.
Really?
I feel this is big. To sit on the outside pole, Daytona's the best of what everybody brings. I just got to thank M&M's, Robert Yates Racing giving me a chance. Ray Bustis, Coca-Cola, UPS, Loctite, everybody stood behind this team. I am so proud of these pit guys. If I hadn't come out first, we wouldn't have won the race.
I talked to Todd Parrott before the race. I didn't think you guys would go out there and run hard. He said, you're crazy, we're going to victory lane.
That's what they told me. Look, we're here to win this race today. Robert Yates deserves it. All of our sponsors deserve it. And we were not going to go in there and ride around. I got the okay from Robin Doe to go there, do what it takes to win the race. I'm so proud of these guys. This is so emotional for me right now. It's great.
Your teammate was here after the shootout. You're here in the 125s. What's going to happen Sunday?
I don't know, maybe we'll flip for it, but I'm just glad to see both of our teams back to where we need to have it. They've worked so hard in the shop this winter, and thank you so much, Miss Yates. And it's just great to see our teams working this good together and this successful. We told everybody we're coming back. We got a lot of Robert Yates fans to make up to.
And your biggest win ever, huh?
I think so. I'm still shaking. Look, I can't even hold my Coca-Cola straight. Look, can't even hold it straight.
Well, you're in victory lane at Daytona. Enjoy it, pal.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Elliott Sadler in victory lane and obviously enjoying the moment, Matt.
Bill, the guy who dropped was Kevin Harvick. You had to make your move.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to sit back there and run second. Hell, we were just racing for a trophy anyway, and if we couldn't win, I mean, it was either go or go home, and we tried and just got going so fast right there coming up on Elliott. It got tied up off the corner. But a good day for the Jim Goodwrench car. Never had to let out of the gas, just couldn't find anybody close enough to help us along. So it was, I was trying to back up to him to get him to kind of push me, but I didn't. I passed 3 or 4 of them by myself. I just couldn't get by Elliott, but we weren't going to settle for second. We had to try to win, and we'll start 10th or wherever we start.
Drops from 2nd to 5th, but still smiling.
Sterling Marlin did finish 2nd. Now, Sterling, how long did you know when you were going to make that move, or did you just all of a sudden decide that it would work?
Well, I had 2 or 3 good runs on Kevin down the back straightaway and down the front here, and just kind of waited. And you had all them Chevrolets laying there, and if I went 2 or 3 to go, I'd be finishing 6th or 7th. But it looked like Kevin laid up back and tried to get a good run on Elliott off 2, and he pushed and had to get out of the gas, and they give us a real good run at him going down the back straightaway. So, proud of the Coors Light team, did a good job, and motor ran great. We've got to get it freed up just a little bit, and we'll be ready.
All right, positive from Sterling Marlin. Matt?
Robbie Gordon sitting on the wall. Where do you even want to begin to talk about your day, Robbie?
Had a pretty decent car. I don't know, I think the 4 blew up or something happened, and they were coming around the outside, and I just couldn't get up. And by that time, I had lost the draft a little bit, and that put us in the position we were in. But I don't think we were good enough to win the thing anyways. Started the race too tight. These tires, I hate to say this, but they're junk, and they're junk because this is what NASCAR wanted, not because Goodyear built a bad tire. I just don't know. I just don't know if we have enough grip to run, 3 wide and do the things we know to do. But gonna have to be important to get your car set up. It's gonna be a handling race. It's not gonna be a horsepower race or aerodynamic race like it's been in the past.
Did you flat spot it entering pit road, or was it going down when you entered pit road?
As soon as I touched the brakes, it popped. So I'm pretty confident that it was too tight the whole time, and it was worn out, and as soon as I touched the brakes, it popped.
Thanks, Robbie. Marty?
Well, Matt, the dream does not come true for Kirk Shelmerdine. You tried so hard this weekend. Did you think at any point in this Twin 125 that you might have been in the race?
About the first lap, all the leaders were still kind of sorting things out, and we actually stayed up in the hole there pretty good. And about a lap later, I knew we were in trouble because they all lined up, and somebody said go, and there they went. Left me in the dust. But we had a great car. Everybody really worked their butts off. It's a shame we couldn't pull it out for them.
No full-time employees, no wind tunnel time, and no testing, but he tried nonetheless. Dave?
With Jimmy Johnson, who finished third in this race, what did you discover about your car?
It's all about handling. In some ways, having a good car that handled hurt me because I'd pull through the corner and pull away from Mark Martin, and then he couldn't get to me to give me a push down the straightaway. But I really predict that you'll see a race similar to what you saw in the 80s, where cars were strung out. You could go down a lap just from handling stuff that I've never been a part of or have experienced because we've always ran in a huge pack. You know, the tire itself gives up a lot more, and then with the larger rear spoiler on the restrictor plate tracks, it just aggravates that push. And before you know it, I mean, maybe 3 laps in, your front tires are beat up, and you have to breathe it like you would at a 1.5 miles. So it's definitely an interesting game, and it's going to be all about handling and not really about drafting.
All right, learning something today, Jimmy Johnson. Matt?
Mark Martin comes home 4th. You're smiling. Do you have something for Sunday?
Well, we've got a car. I tell you what, that Ford Power under the hood and that new 2004 Taurus, it's pretty sweet. My pit crew's fast on pit road, so 2004 really looks good for us. We can't win with it like that, but it's in that car, and we have 2 days to find it. If we can get our hands around it, you know, get a hold of it, we can contend for this thing Sunday.
He's 0 for 19 in the 500, hoping to end that streak this weekend, Alan.
For Mark Martin, that's a pretty optimistic statement.
I tell you what, I was impressed by that statement, and it looks like that he's exactly right. There's about 40 of them. If they can get their arms around it and get it handling, they got a shot.
Here's our Cialis key moment from the second of today's qualifying races. It was that last half-lap shuffle down the backstretch into turn 3.
Boy, that car of Harvick looked like he got loose getting in. You said he got tight, but boy, that thing turned sideways.
So close to make contact. Right rear tire on Sterling's car, hit the left front on the 29. Man.
And rearrange the final rundown in that second race. We'll take a break here, but when we come back, we'll show you the starting lineup for the 46th Daytona 500. The Gatorade 125's from Daytona International Speedway, brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the Gatorade 125's. Is it in you? Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. And McDonald's, I'm loving it. Here is how they will line up Sunday afternoon in the 46th running of the Daytona 500. Greg Biffle and Elliott Sadler earning front row spots with their Bud Pole qualifying run from last Sunday. Then the next several rows all locked in as the result of today's Gatorade 125's.
As a matter of fact, back to row 15. Rusty Walsh will start 18th. Benson, 24th. In the 09 car, Dave Blaney on the inside. He ran so well Saturday night.
Andretti and Gordon last spots in the qualifying races. These drivers in on their time trial speed. Then to provisionals, plus Mike Skinner, who reverts back to time trial speed since none of the other drivers were eligible for a provisional. So that's how they'll line up Sunday in the Daytona 500. NBC Saturday at noon Eastern, it's the Hershey's Kisses 300. And then Sunday at noon Eastern on NBC, the Daytona 500, starting with Discover Card Countdown to Green. And next on TNT, the world's most dramatic police chases. That's it for the Gatorade 125's today. Times like these, we're looking forward to Sunday.
It's times like these you learn to live. It's times like these you live. It's times like these.
It's the first victory of any kind for his sponsor M&M's, and what has been a huge week for Robert Yates Racing continues.
It's times like